Here on Joy 99.7 FM, your superstation channel of blessing and your place of inspiration. Today is Sunday, the 9th of June, 2024. It's a day the Lord has made. We rejoice and we're glad in this beautiful day. It's 3 minutes after the hour of 9. And for me, it's a special day. It's a special day because some 17 years ago, together with my dear wife, we went to the altar and tied the knot. And it's been 17 years of God's faithfulness, 17 years of the hand of God at work in our marriage, 17 years of seeing God bless us and teach us a lot. In these 17 years, I don't think I can in just a moment tell of the many things I have learned and benefited. And for me, it's worth thanking God for. And I would want to seize this opportunity to wish my dear wife, Sophia, a happy anniversary together for both of us. Happy anniversary to us. And we pray that the Lord who has brought us this far will carry us through to the place He's destined us to be. Right. So once again, you're warmly welcome. This is A Walk with Jesus, and it's my pleasure to introduce you to your favorite Christian infotainment program right here on 99.7 megahertz Joy FM. Proverbs chapter 22 and the verse 6 says, "Start children off on the way they should go, and even when they are old, they will not turn from it." This is the NIV version. Last week, we started a conversation on how to raise sons of today to be responsible fathers tomorrow. Our resourceful guests established that parents must be intentional about raising and training their boys, because training the male child requires that you are there for them. They also bemoaned the fact that fathers of today mostly are ready to pay bills but are not there emotionally for their sons. And they therefore advise that the church steps in to take parenting seriously and teach men how to raise their boys. Many a time, one is unable to do what you ought to do, not because you don't want to do it, you just don't know how to do it. Probably because none was there to do it for you to see. And so when it's your turn, going about it is just a difficult thing. But then they advise that is the reason why God in His wisdom has structured the church. And so Christian men, Christian fathers should be taught on how to really raise their sons. Tonight, we want to continue the conversation on the challenges and opportunities of raising sons who are godly, emotionally healthy, well-rounded, and compassionate as men. So you're free to join our conversation. Join us with your comments and questions via WhatsApp. The number is 055 11 997. That's 055 11 997 on the Joy FM Facebook page. Stick and stay. We'll be right back after this musical break. Enjoy this.
Daddy, so you insist on doing what you want to do. Ṣé ọ̀rọ̀ tinú ẹ ló máa ṣe lọ láṣìwà?
Daddy Monlo. Daddy, I'm going to the city.
You children of nowadays, you are too much in a hurry. Be patient. Be patient.
Daddy, I've heard what you have to say,
But I have to do what is in my heart.
Daddy Monlo.
Well, let me tell you. Daddy,
Sir.
you are on your own.
Woke up on Sunday morning, told my daddy I'm leaving home, going off to the city tomorrow, even though I don't know where to go. And daddy says, son, don't be a fool, 'cause life in the city is unbelievable. You could get broken, oh, you're just a little boy, and you may never find your way. And I said, I know I could get lost, I know I could get broken. Forgive me, Father, but I gotta take a chance. Oh, I'm already gone, so just pray for me. Badura for me, pray I find my way. Koriba Mishe. Oh, forgive me, Father, but I gotta take a chance. Oh, I'm already gone, so just pray for me. Badura for me, pray I find my way. Koriba Mishe. Oh, forgive me, Father, but I gotta take a chance. Oh, I'm already gone, so just pray for me. Hello, Daddy, how you doing? Hope Mama's doing okay. Been 4 years and 11 months now. Alone, it was true what you said to me. But life in the city is unbelievable. Had to struggle just to get by every day, and I could barely find my way. Shubon. Forgive me, Father, but I gotta take a chance. Oh, I'm already gone, so just pray for me. Badura for me. Koriba Mishe. Oh, forgive me, Father, but I gotta take a chance. Oh, I'm already gone, so just pray for me.
Right then, beautiful song, Pray For Me, coming from the Ministry of Dari, featuring the Soweto Gospel Choir. And it's a beautiful song. I chose the song intentionally because we're discussing fathers raising sons, and off air, I was explaining. As for one of my guests, he understands because he's a Yoruba boy, you know. But then I was explaining the storyline. It's about a son who had discussed with a father, and against the advice of his father, decided to step out of home, just like a prodigal son, you know. Decided to step out of home, go and face the world, make things happen. And the father was like, look, calm down, you know. But then he says, no, I'm going. So his father tells him, you're on your own. Well, we'll get to know whether in raising sons at a point, it's appropriate for a father to tell the son that, look, if you're going to do this against my wish, then you are on your own. But then I want to warmly welcome you once again to tonight's edition of A Walk with Jesus. We're continuing our discussion on raising sons of today to be responsible fathers of tomorrow. And last week, our resourceful guests, opened up some very important aspects as far as the subject is concerned to us. We seek to continue in that same spirit tonight. But before we delve into what we have on the table for discussion tonight, I would want to introduce my resourceful guests once again. Bishop Fred Korankye Mensah is a pastor and counseling psychologist, and is a senior pastor and founder of Transformation Assembly. He's pastored for years and dealt with all manner of situations regarding parenting. And he's a father himself. And we are blessed to have him right here in the studios of Joy 99.7 FM. Bishop,
yes,
a very good evening to you.
Thank you, my brother.
How come Sunday evening as a pastor you're looking rested like that?
Life, when you take life easy, believing that God is in control, you rest in Him.
I like that. I'll add that to my repertoire. So a very good evening to you, Bishop.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for coming once again.
Right
then. Pastor Samson Iyiola is a pastor and a counselor. He's a pastor in charge of family life, marriage and family life in Global Dominion Charismatic Center. And he's a father as well. He's pastored for a couple of years and is an experienced counselor who's counseled diverse kinds of people, as far as marriage and making family is concerned. An experienced man. We have him right here in the studios of Joy 99.7 once again. Pastor Samson, a very good evening to you.
Good evening, sir.
Right. How are you doing?
Doing well, and congratulations.
Thank you.
Happy anniversary.
Thank you. Thank you,
Bishop.
Bishop is lost in all. I know Bishop is lost in it all.
What am I missing?
My wife and I hit our 17th year.
Beautiful.
Today.
Beautiful.
17 years ago, we walked to the altar.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow. Happy anniversary.
Thank you,
brother.
sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you very much. So we would want to quickly do a recap of what we touched on last week for the sake of those who couldn't join us last week, so they can follow us this evening. So let me begin with you, Pastor Samson, a quick recap on what we shared, on your thoughts regarding last week.
Thank you so much. As we established last week, that fatherhood to raise sons, I strongly believe it cannot start outside the home. It must start from the home. And we cannot start it without being a good and responsible husband.
So a good husband,
yes,
ends up being a good father.
Exactly.
I see.
A good husband, responsible husband, will end up being a good father. The chances of missing it is very slim. Very, very slim. And I also want to say that the reason why we are discussing this subject today is because we have so many fathers that are responsible in paying bills. That's my point. They are paying bills. And that is the angle you were looking at it last week, that I think we are doing better. We are doing better in the sense that we pay more bills than that of our father. We pay more bills than that of our fathers. But the aspect of training cannot be taken away. We pay two types of bills. One is feeding our sons. The second one, we send them to school for someone to train them. So we're paying those bills. But learning great value, becoming a responsible person in society, cannot be learned in school. Home is the classroom for that. And to be able to do that, you will be a good husband, an effective one, to be able to raise a son to look at you and say, my father did it and I can do same. But today, we have fathers out there. To become a father is very easy. A teenager can become a father. It's about paying bills that differs. The matured one has ability, they've been able to work. But a teenager can be a father. But what will a teenager raise? And discussing this subject wouldn't have been necessary if we have fathers, responsible fathers, that have trained the children. But what we have on our streets today tell us that fatherhood is not just about paying bills. And that's why the society is crying today.
Right.
So we must start from a home, not from the school.
Right. Bishop,
Yes, sir.
a quick recap so that those who couldn't join us last week
Okay,
can
so
follow suit.
Let me say we talked about parenting. We touched on training. We touched on that word training. We also touched on the 5-generation principle. I love that one so much, and I would want to touch on it again. And then we also touched on some principles. So we talked about the 5-generation principle that posits that whatever I do today in raising my children, it goes beyond them to the 5th generation. And we said that it's important what we do today, because after we are gone, the legacy we have left will impact on generations. There is a text in Deuteronomy. God is saying to Israel, today I set before you death and life, and I'm challenging you to make a choice. Choose. Then he says, choose life so that you and your children will live. So the choices we make today, the decisions we take today, the actions we do today, they have generational consequences. That's why we need to be extra careful. And we also touched on the fact that training is not just imparting information, but modeling behavior. Doing what you want the children to copy. Because children copy, especially when they are younger, before 7. You see, those parents who have kids who are still 7 and below,
A formative stage.
you have a great chance of molding them into the image of Jesus. Great chance. Once they pass that stage, it becomes a little challenging, though it is doable. So we emphasize on the fact that actions are more important than impartation of information. What I do, children just copy. They look at me and they copy. Whatever values you want them to have, whatever principles you want them to internalize, you live it. And most importantly, we talked about the fact that the trainer also needs to be trained. So all parents, it's not too late. Maybe you did not get a model parent to learn from. The Bible is available. That is why we are here tonight, teaching and discussing. You should train yourself. You should work on yourself so that you can be a blessing to your children and your children's children because of the 5-generation principle.
That's interesting, But then on the table tonight, I would want us to delve into the practicality, of making this happen. We have established the fact that, number one, we've got to be intentional. I remember that word coming up last week, and it's come up tonight as well. We've got to be intentional. And in being intentional, we have also registered that it is not just the talk. Yes. Do this, be this, do that, go here, go there. But then modeling, like you both rightly said. And I mean, that all of that culminates into training. I remember Pastor Samson drawing the line between raising and training, so therefore being very intentional. I would want us to get into how practical we can get, and considering the various stages, of the sons, those who are below teenage, and then when they get into their teenage, and then when they begin to hit their adulthood, 18, and above. It seems to me that the father would have to change his style, at these various phases of the life of that same son. So that if I have a son, the way our father the son under the age of, say, 10, is different from how I father him when he's hit about 12, 13, going up. And then when he's getting to 18, I may have to change the way I father him. So I want you to help us, walk us through how we can make this happen. I'm going to throw it to you so that you both run with us, so we follow. Those who want to take notes, please get your Bible, of course your Bible, because scriptures may come up, but then your notebook and your pens or your tablets, your phones, get them ready, because there definitely will be salient points to jot down, that are going to help you. Right. So let me begin with you, Bishop.
Yes, sir. I love this dimension because, you see, God is our model father. If you did not have a father figure in your life, just by looking at God and the way he deals with us, you can learn from him. He's the perfect father. There is no example that is better than the God example. Or looking at the life of Jesus and the way he dealt with the disciples, the dynamics of their relationship. When he started with them, he called them sons. At a point, he called them brothers. At a point, he called them friends. So it's very important to note that as children grow, you need to modify your style a little bit. You need to be a little flexible because, for instance, when they are younger, before 7, discipline works better.
Okay.
I know that today's parents will not subscribe to punishment.
As in corporal punishment?
Exactly.
Okay.
But you see...
Oh, but there are parents who would also say, look, hey, use the whip. Yes, there are a couple of them who are quite ancient.
I always try to self-disclose. I always try to use myself and my family as an example. When my son was younger, he's 21 now. When he was younger, if he erred, you see, then again, I need to emphasize that in training, you need to be conscious of corrections and punishments.
There's a difference.
Very important. Oh, yes. You need to learn to correct them. Then you need to learn to punish them.
What's the difference?
Very,
Educate
very
us.
important. If you are correcting, you correct with instruction. But when you are punishing, you punish by using certain skills and techniques, like negative reinforcement. Okay, he loves the tablet. He has his tablet time. Take it from him. There's a program he watches on TV. He loves it.
I'm denying you.
Deny him. Something he loves. Take it away from him. Then he feels it. He knows that anytime I go this way, this is the consequence I suffer. It's very, very important. When my son was younger, if he erred, I tried to correct him with instruction. If it didn't work, I will apply a mild punishment.
What do you say about spanking?
Spanking, I as a parent wouldn't say is the best, but sometimes it is necessary. You see, try to instruct. If instructions do not work, come in with systems like negative reinforcement. If it doesn't work, once a while you can apply it.
Apply that.
But you see, the typical Ghanaian parent will spank the child out of anger.
Okay.
It doesn't work. The Bible says the anger of man does not work out the righteousness of God. Anything we do out of anger will not give us the best result. So this is what I recommend. You can spank, you can met out any form of punishment, but do it well. Okay? Wait until your anger is gone. This is how I trained my son. I will take the belt, call him, we sit down, we discuss. Nana, this is why I am going to do this to you. And it is not because I don't love you, it is because I love you and I want you to change. You see, learn to communicate with your children. Don't think they won't get it. They will. Communicate with them. Let them understand your boundaries. Let them understand your rules. Let them, when you do that with them, they obey you faster than when you make the rules and you impose it on them. It's difficult. Every human being, it's difficult for them to obey rules that are coming from space and landing on their heads. If they are a part of the decision making, if they are a part of the process, not necessarily trying to agree with them on certain things, but explain to them, let them understand. I make sure that I am no longer angry. I sit him down. When he was as young as 5, I dialogue with him. This is the outcome we are looking for. This is what I'm going to do to you, and this is what I'm expecting. Once they understand, it becomes a smooth sail. But when you just met out the punishment out of anger, they become bitter. Also, it will surprise you. At my age, I am 51 this year.
You don't look it though. You look 23.
At my age, there were certain things, I hope my mother is not listening. There are certain things my mommy did to me. At my age, sometimes I'll be walking around and it comes to you. It comes to memory. And I'm like, I wish I could. I can say some things here. When you do it out of bitterness, out of anger, you embitter the children. And sometimes the outcome you get, you will raise children who have low self-esteem. You raise children who are too shy. You raise children who will not do well academically because you bruise
their ego
and their image. So please, it's very, very important that when we are dealing with them, at every stage, if you're going to met out punishment or correction, explain to them.
Okay.
Make sure you don't do it out of anger. Very, very important. Wait when the anger is gone. Have a dialogue with them. And then Pastor Samson's key word, being intentional, comes in. When you are intentional, even if the anger is gone, you have a plan. You have a system. That is what being intentional means. Have a plan, have a system, and then, apply it. And then be consistent as well. Okay? So if my child has exhibited a certain behavior right now, then I come in with discipline. Then the next time he does it, I look at him and I let him go. It doesn't work. Be consistent in your meting out of discipline and punishment. Every time he does it, come in love. Come in love. Discipline them and be consistent.
That's interesting. I'm very sure that you have taken certain notes and put down some salient points. Pastor Samson, we're looking at the practical ways to go about what we introduced last week. How do I do this? I have agreed. I've heard Pastor Samson say, look, training the child is a whole different ball game, from just raising. It's not about bill payment. Thank God you are paying the bills, you're paying the fees, you're buying the shoes, you're buying the bags, the books, and all of that. But then be involved. Pastor Samson, I want to be involved. How do I go about it practically? Especially for fathers who
would say, look, my father wasn't there. You get it? It's grace that has seen me through to be able to. But then I don't want to repeat that. I want to be different from my father. So what do I do? How do I practically go about it?
Thank you, Daddy. And I love the way you came in. My father wasn't there.
Yeah.
But grace took me through.
Yeah.
Not every one of us got that kind of grace. Judas and Peter, they were both with Jesus. Peter was prayed for. Judas didn't get that kind of opportunity.
That's profound.
And that is a serious thing. So, as we've established that we need to be intentional about it. Training children. I really agree with a lot of what Bishop has said. There are stages. And going back to the Bible, let's assume my father is not there. Going back to the Bible is something that can greatly help. And the greatest teacher is Jesus Christ. And I emphasized that last week also. And that's what I want to pick. So I'd like to read this scripture. Because these are the people he trained. And when they want to give their testimony, and this is what is said. And that's why I say, training a son to become husband first before he can become a father.
The father.
Now, Jesus trained these people, and this is the testimony of John. 1 John chapter 1, verse 1. It said, that which was from the beginning, which we have heard, which we have seen with our eyes, which we have looked upon, and our hands have handled of the word of life. See 4 words. They heard. So you will tell them, do this. They heard you. He said, we saw him. They will see. Then we looked at it. Seeing is different from looking. It's a different ballgame. Then we handled it. In other words, we practiced it. So they became great disciples because the master was there. When that man brought his son, they saw him casting out demons. Then they wanted to do it. They couldn't do it. And Jesus said, for how long will I stay with you? So he has to repeat that class. But after he finished training them, he left. Now they passed the baton to us. Jesus was a father in this context.
Yeah.
He trained these children. The children became like him. Now they raise other children. They raise other sons. And that link up with this 5 generations. And we are going to look at the generation that has impacted today from the time of Jesus to now. The truth is, a martial art teacher cannot tell the student what to do without showing it.
Say that again.
A martial arts teacher cannot tell the student what to do without showing it.
So demonstration is key.
Is the major key. And also, to buttress the point from last week, because the whole thing we are dealing with, in my opinion, this subject we are dealing with is not actually about fathers. It's about marriage. If the home is not there, we don't have fathers.
Yeah.
Because you see, we cannot have excellent, better, good doctors, lawyers, without having good students, excellent students, and better students. Because if we have bad students, we have bad doctors. So excellent, you see, to now we bring the sons to the school to be trained to become excellent students. And this excellent student will become excellent doctors. So when they are excellent son that become excellent husband, they will become excellent father to be able to raise them.
So in this context, the home becomes the school.
The home is the school for raising sons to become husband. The classroom where we use now, we get our lecturers and teachers. It's a place to raise value for market, not value for life. And that's why we are getting, we have good teachers, good lecturers, and then they produce scientists, artists, good journalists, but it's for the market. So the value for the market. But the value for home, we've lacked it. And that is why our society is going through what we are going through now. No. We have educated people, well-educated people. TikTok is a clear indication. Brilliant people are there. But home is destroyed. And that's why we have all this mess there. So the father needs to be at home, intentionally showing these children what he will do. Like Bishop said, there's one principle or two, so many of them, but let me mention two. The Bible said the foolishness is in the heart of a child. The rod or the cane will kick it out. There's a place for discipline. I agree. There's a place. When my children has done something, the moment I tell you I will cane you, I don't back down.
You fulfill the promise.
Because they are watching you, I fulfilled it.
Oh, okay.
If I tell I'm giving you 3, I'll give it to you.
Why is it so? What's the wisdom behind that?
Children, I don't have all the vocabularies, but there's something. When you are raising them, they test you. If you fail the first time, the second and the third time, they will never take you serious.
Oh. Okay. So to them, you don't mean it.
No. Yeah. You don't mean it. That's it. So they test you. They work on you. They are so brilliant.
Very smart.
So when I tell you, there's no time I'll say I will beat you. So I don't easily use it. But when I say I'm going to beat you, they just know that they will beat. Second thing, I try to tell the truth. Of course, we are trying our best. We are trying. But at home, I'm using you cannot talk about fathers without talking about yourself. If you're a father.
It's true.
There is one thing I will tell them. The Bible said if you speak the truth, you will be free. So as young as they were, I opened the Bible. I said, the Bible says if you speak the truth, you will be free. So I tell them, if you tell me the truth, no matter what you've done, you are free.
Okay.
And one day, the big one came.
Kai.
I went, during holiday, they picked my laptop. This is almost 11 years ago, or maybe 10 years. The money I tried to gather, sent to somebody in America, bought the laptop, and brought it back. I was so excited. It was one of my biggest property at that time. So, and I gave them freedom to play with it. We don't have all these tablets, it's not that common then. So, they were on break and was playing game, the boy. Then, it was time to eat. They called them. They finished eating and returned back. According to him, because when I woke up, I picked the laptop. It's like, they play game and all this thing and then they didn't charge it. I've been telling you people. So I was just screaming, talking like that, not knowing the big one is coming. So I plugged the laptop, waited for it to respond. Nothing was coming. 5 minutes, 10 minutes. Then I called my boy. What happened? And Daddy, when we were playing and then mommy called us to come and eat. We finished eating. I came back. I was playing, but there was pure water in my hands. I did not know when the whole thing emptied itself to the keypad.
He's baptized the laptop.
So the thing they were playing until the laptop went off. Now, little things has happened. And he said, go. Because you said the truth. Here we are. The laptop is gone. What will I say?
But he told the truth.
He told the truth.
So you have to fulfill your promise.
He walked away. He walked. But you see, where the matter now gets this, the last born was much younger. This happened before he was born.
Okay.
So he came, then there was something he did. Tell me, who did this thing? I knew it's not the brother, it's not the sister. Then I saw them. So I got up going to the bedroom to take Cain. I heard them telling him, tell daddy the truth. Tell daddy the truth. If you tell him the truth, he will not beat you. Tell daddy the truth. If you tell him the truth, he will not beat you. So they've learnt it. Because one thing I tell you, if you don't tell me the truth and I discover, you ask whether I'm your father. Because I will beat you. And that beating will be serious. So we have to be intentional about it.
I see.
We have to be there. We have to do it like Jesus said. John reported how they learned and became who they are. We saw it. We heard it. We looked at it. And we handle it. We practice it. And that's what we are passing on to you.
Wow.
So for my children, I'm expecting them. Even the one that is grown, I was speaking with her yesterday. I said, somebody that wants to marry you, I believe she's that you're a good girl. But he's been hearing me talking about marriage. That has added even some level of, what's the word? It has made you so important. But now the person will be expecting you to practice what we've taught you. So I'm expecting them as they are growing to raise their children. Because that is the way forward.
Wow.
Thank you, sir.
That's interesting, and I feel like I'm sitting in a class, you know, taking notes. But then, Bishop, let's go to teenagers.
Okay.
It comes to me as though that season is the most difficult when it comes to parenting, especially for the father. You know, trying to raise a teenage son. Why is it so in the first place?
Because the teenage years are very experimental. They want to try things. They want to do things. They want to see why this is this and that is that. So if you don't guide them well, that is when you could have a child who is very obedient. You could have a child who is very calm. Once they get into their teens, they become very experimental. They become a bit aggressive. They want to try things. They want to, and that is when you have to learn to communicate. That is when you have to learn to explain. You have to learn to dialogue. You have to learn to build relationship. One of the things fathers should do is to connect with their children through communication. Build a good relationship. I love it when a pastor said it's a principle in their home that if you tell the truth, you will be free. Let me touch on it a little, because in our culture, it is when you tell the truth that you are beaten.
Yes, I did it. Okay, you did it.
When you tell the lie, you rather go free. So that's brilliant. Also, I commend you for that. So the teenage child, you have to be close to the child, communicate with the child. So let me touch on communication again and building relationship, connection. The relationship is already there. The father-daughter, the father-son relationship is already there. But you have to build it through communication. You have to communicate. You have to talk. You have to explain. You have to spend time talking, spend time explaining. The little child, you tell them, don't do this, don't do that. They may obey you without asking questions. But the teenager, if they are afraid of you, and they have too much reverence for you, they won't voice it out, but they are asking in their head. If you don't convince them, if you don't explain to them why you can't have this, why you can't do that, they will find a way of doing it, and they will find a way of having it. So building that relationship is very, very important through communication. Fellowship with your teenage children. Fellowship with them. Be there in their lives. Okay, in this day and age, fathers are too busy, mothers are so engaged.
Because around that time too, I mean, they demand a lot of funds. I mean,
So
you have to
work.
Work.
But you see, parenting is a big challenge, very, very big challenge, and you have to keep a balance. Pastor Samson keeps saying, if you are, it's not just about paying bills, but the bills are also very important. It's your responsibility. So the issue here is keep a balance. Okay, if you have a driver that drops your children, I have a policy. Reopening day, I take my children. Open day,
I'm there.
I am there. Be there in their lives. Okay, be present. And then, because if you're not present, social media will raise them for you. If you're not present, only the teachers will raise them for you. And some of them are not correct, unfortunately. Some of them have some weird beliefs, and some of them have some weird way of doing things. Before you realize, they are raising your children for you. So be there, especially for the teenagers, because that age bracket is very sensitive and experimental. Try to be present in their lives. The only problem of Adam, the only reason the human race suffered from Adam is because Adam, even though he was present, he was not present. Also, if you read that account very well, I used to think that maybe Adam had gone to the farm to look for bodier for Eve to cook, but he was right there, yet he was not there. Because the scripture says when Eve ate, he gave it to, he was there, but he was not there.
So what does that really mean? As in not being there, but then you're there.
You are there, but you're not doing anything. You are present, but you are absent.
So physically present, but then you're
emotionally
not influencing
detached,
anything.
Emotionally detached. You are not communicating. You are not contributing anything. You see, sometimes it's not even the quantity of time. It's the quality of time. As busy as we are as men of God, you can't have all the time in this world, because your children are not just your biological children. I have 4 biological. I have a lot of adopted. I have a lot of foster. I have a lot of spiritual. So you have to divide your time for all of them. It is not the quantity, the quality. When you are there, even if it's 30 minutes, let it count. Communicate. Get a game. Play it with your children. As you're playing, you are communicating. And then the key word of intentionality comes in. You know what you're doing. So even though you are playing a Ludo, you are trying to chip in some lessons of life. You are trying to imbibe some values into your children whilst you are playing. So be there. Being present also is very important, especially when your kids are teenagers.
Wow. It's just amazing how time flies. We've got just a couple of minutes to draw down the curtains. But then let's attend to this listener. This is Nitia from Medina. I said low self-esteem, shyness, fear, mistakes, and sometimes anger. At the age of 43 years, I still go through all of these. I'm a victim of them. Reason: my father was very strict with our upbringing. My father never stood by us even if we were right. Instead, he is nice to people outside. I have tried to overcome it, but it's not easy. Sometimes I feel like I'm a failure because I was afraid to stand by choices, and now it's too late. Is it too late for him, Pastor Samson?
No, sir. It's not.
So this is 43 years.
Yes, it's true. One can actually feel that it's not easy. When you have some kind of a disciplinarian father, some of us had.
Oh, you had a father like that?
Oh, I do.
No, the way you're holding on, you hold on because
No, no. Yeah, it wasn't easy. So I could understand her. Or either he or she, I could understand. Because my father was kind of authoritative one. His law his words is the law and it's final. We were beaten beyond beating. We were beaten to the point
that's
that,
abuse.
yeah, but he thought he was just raised, discipline us, and then we're beaten to the point that we become like the students. Just this the hand, give it to me.
Give it to me.
And we grew up. We began to meet people. We felt like we are not even in their class. We felt that they are better than us. But for me, having met Jesus changed everything. And I belong to another group of people called Covenant Keepers. It's a fellowship. And I see a lot of young sharp there. And I pick some confidence from that place.
Them.
So I can say what she's going through, he or
There's
she
still
is
hope.
true. Oh, there is hope. Because the thing is this, what has he been able to do for himself up till now? His father, Bishop, quoted Deuteronomy. It's time for either he or she to make a choice now.
No.
You must make a decision. Even though possibly your father is still there or is not there, but you are not under him again. Make a choice. Begins to tell yourself that at this point you want to do something better. For your life. So the person shouldn't. It's possible. And that's why.
But would you recommend, counseling, for
actually, this person with this age, because he's dealing with a strong mental picture, that even when he closes his eyes, he will remember those beating, those slapping. You know, the comedians will say something, they slap, and you hear echoing that in your mind. When you say the next soldier, like Nigeria style, you don't. They've not spoken to you, but you start. It is the image. So the person should see
the confidence
a
out of you.
Oh yeah, it's shattered. But to conclude, like Bishop said, the teenagers, the best thing to become is to have a great relationship with them.
Okay.
In fact, if you are so close to them, our firstborn is around 27 now. If you are so close to them, that is the time they will open up to you.
To you.
But if you are not, actually, I see this dimension as they have too many teachers around them. The influence is there.
And friends.
That is the moment we lose most of them. Teenage level. Because friends will be there. They are hearing you, but they will sample it with their friends. They are hearing you. They will sample it with people that they feel like that person is better than you. So if you have that relationship, they can come back and they will ask you question, what you have told them and what they've heard. They will make it their own question, and they will throw it at you. They want to see what you're going to say. If their own sounded better, you are losing them to those people outside.
God help us. God help us. God help us. God help us. Anyway, so time isn't on our side. We're going to be drawing down the curtains. I'll take the last words of my resourceful guests. But then as we journey into Father's Day, in fact, we're dedicating the month, to fatherhood. We started on the note of trusting God to raise the boys of today, to be the fathers we want them to be tomorrow. And we've been helped greatly by my resourceful guests here. Bishop, I would want to take your last comment, and then Pastor Samson as well.
Let me say that every parent watching and listening to us, two things you want to start doing and keep doing. Nehemiah chapter 4, verse 14. Nehemiah said to them, "Do not be afraid. Stand and fight for your wives, fight for your sons, fight for your daughters." Prayer is very important. A parent's prayer, if even it is 10 seconds, carries a lot of power. Pray for your children. Lay your hands over them. Pray for them, especially when they are sleeping.
Yeah.
Lay your hands on them. Pray
Speak
for
over
them.
their lives.
And then number 2, speak the right words over them. Also, for most adults today are suffering because they received negative words.
True.
They received curses from their parents. They received bad words from their parents. So they are now suffering the consequences. Don't repeat that trend. Speak positively over your children. There is life and death in your tongue, especially if you're a parent and a father. Don't release death, release life. Your parents told you, "Obebre." Don't repeat that to your children. Speak the right words. If even they are being stubborn, if even they are being bad, speak positively. Take the word of God and speak it over them. Also, for there is a man in the Bible who cursed Reuben, Jacob. Cursed Reuben because Reuben made a mistake. Please, parents, don't curse your children because they offend you. Don't curse them. He said you will not prosper because you are unstable.
Unstable as
Also,
water.
when you study the history of the Reubenites, they became very few at time and they lost influence and leadership until Moses came to give us the right model of a father. He blessed Reuben. He said, "Lord, bless Reuben. Let not his men be few. Let him live and not die." Then he started picking up. So speak positive words. If even what you're seeing is negative, no matter how angry and offended you are, speak positively over your children.
Thank you very much. Pastor Samson, your last words, sir.
Well, I will go this direction, and it's a challenge to us all. The church should start now, and the church cannot achieve so much because we don't have parents or family in the church now. The number of family we have in the church, when you scan it out, in fact, the percentage is very, very low. We are not having family in the church. So the church should step up, but we have to go beyond the four corners of the church and come out and go to the media, take over those places with one goal. One goal is to begin to investigate, looking for a journalist that will stand out like Napoleon Hill did, to interview wealthy people, not less than 500, telling people, though depression was there at that time, but we can do it. They gave them positivities. So we're looking for a journalist that will go and at least bring us about 100 to 200 better marriage. Good marriages. If you go online today, the negativity about marriage you will see.
It's more.
And we are more influenced by what we are seeing. And that's what is causing all this problem that we can't raise our son. So if we can have a journalist that will say, let me bring 100 marriages or 200, all we'll be talking about at this station is better marriage, better marriage. Come and tell us how you have the joy. Enough of home break, this, divorce. We turn to many stations. That's what we are going to hear. The negativity about marriage. And it's affecting us, it's impacting us. And that's why we are getting the results. But if we can have consistent, better marriage, wonderful marriage, excellent marriage, bring them out. Let them come and talk. If we do that for 1 year, we'll change
the narrative. We
would change it.
Right.
But right now, hardly can we see any station that is consistent about bringing. But when they are saying it, they mix it together. 70% of bad marriages, 25% or 20% of better marriage, and then 10% of mixed one. So, but let's work this way. If you are coming on this station, come and tell us how you have joy and peace in your marriage. Better marriage agenda. Let the media set it. Church preach it. Media doing it. TikTok. Everywhere, people would not. It will wake some people up and say, So if somebody can have you like this, I'll work on my own. But the other side, the negative one, everybody is saying it, me, I'm even try. I try. Me too, I'm checking out. And that's what led us to where we are today. Better marriage agenda should be a focus for our nation.
Thank you very much. So this is where we draw down the curtains. Bishop Fred Korankye Mensah. He is a pastor and counseling psychologist and senior pastor of Transformation Assembly. He's been my guest. Pastor Samson Iyiola is a pastor in charge of marriage and family life, GDCC. They've been my guests. Many thanks to Michaela for the wonderful production. Uncle Ken Adi is very ready to bless us with some soothing jazz music. Uncle Ken, I missed you last week.
Yes. Also, I was up the mountains last week.
Oh, I see. You went to enjoy some breeze, eh?
Yes, I have enjoyed the conversation. And there's so much I wanted to say about time.
Time.
So much. I took one thing out of the whole conversation, and that is, it is the home that you raise good husbands.
True.
I agree with that wholeheartedly.
True.
Yes.
True.
Thank you.
True. Thank you too. Thank you so much. So God willing, next week is going to be Father's Day, and we're going to be celebrating fatherhood. My name is Ato Acquah. We're checking out at this time.
Oh, also for congratulations on your 17th.
Thank you.
I nearly forgot.
Thank you, Uncle Ken.
Wonderful.
Thank you very much. Thank you. We're following your footsteps.